I mean, you know I love a good news recap, right?
Hmm.
I wish we had the dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I can't do backgrounds on here anymore, so I can't have the weird news background behind me.
Why not? Oh,
That is something that is missing. Background.
Yeah, I'll come on in a shirt and tie and some papers and just start doing that with them.
You
And
were
I
like,
can see from the fact that the stream's up
well,
that we might have been live.
well, you kind of missed it by like a second. Your papers almost made it into the shot when we transitioned, but you missed it by a second.
Damn.
Oh, there we go. Are you watching?
I
yeah.
am watching, but it's just a blank Pixel Pints logo at the moment.
I see us up.
We're live.
Yeah, we've been live for, I don't know, a minute and a half now.
I mean the one in the chat, but
No,
Yeah,
on
I
Twitch.
can't follow the chat today because everything else that I would have done that on is charging. Take me dancing naked in the rain, shower me with ecstasy, we are Pixel Pints.
What?
That should be the intro for every episode.
I approve.
We are the only global podcast that talks about two things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We're not here to promote drinking or games. I know sometimes we promote games. Please drink responsibly. Any beers or brews we're talking about aren't sponsoring us.
I mean, we'll take
And-
review code if companies will give us review code.
Yeah. I'll review stuff. I was hoping Dan was on because I was going to ask him to, and you, Mitch, to give us your thoughts on Kenner.
Kina.
Kina,
Kenner, Ken Dodd.
Ken Babe.
Yeah. Because I know Dan was looking forward to that for such a long time. He got so angry that they delayed it.
Well,
I haven't had a chance to watch his hour and a half stream.
I
I
was gonna
uploaded it to our YouTube channel.
I was so tempted to stream it, and I didn't, and I regret doing it because I think it would have been great. But actually, this guy watched it with me, so he'll have some opinions too. So it'll be good if you want to ask me about it.
Maybe another time. Maybe when Dan's on, we'll go through. We'll do what we've been playing, and then we'll go through Kena, Kana, K and Pepper, whatever's called.
K-pops.
K-pop. Yes, so I did upload Dan playing the first hour and a half of Kenna to our YouTube channel, which you can find by searching on YouTube at Pixel Pints. You can also find us wherever on your podcast feeds. Just search for at Pixel Pints. And you can follow us on Twitter, which is at Pixel_Pints, or you can follow us on Instagram, where I've mainly been posting the very rare occasions where I do something good on video games. And beers in between time, which is at Pixel Pints Pod. Welcome to this week's wrap-up of some of the top gaming-related news that I've arbitrarily picked out and awarded myself the power of doing so. Thank you to me. But before we get into the show, let's just do a quick round the room. Matt, how's things in Las Vegas? I nearly said LA.
Close.
Same weather.
You could have probably invaded if you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
I'll take a bunch of casinos in LA.
Not too bad. I had to push my car around the block yesterday because the battery died.
Oh,
So that was fun.
yikesies.
The
It sounds like a
extra
Midwestern issue. Like,
Oh my god!
remember
Hey,
good old days when you pushing cars around the lot? And
No, yeah. Thankfully, it was like right before we left the neighborhood, so it was still residential streets, and my wife and I
okay.
could actually push it back to the house. But
it's a good workout.
yeah, I was coughing and sputtering and everything else. But anyway, $200 later, I have a new battery, and the car runs fine. So
Yay.
yeah.
Interestingly, you can't do that with electric cars because it will screw all the individual motors that drive the wheels.
Yeah, so my friend or coworker has or had a Toyota Avalon hybrid, And back when I had my pickup truck, I was like, dude, can you give me a jump? And he's like, nope. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, it won't work with a hybrid. He's like, it'll mess it up. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's so... That's, yeah.
Well, I
The
mean,
electric car can't give something else a charge.
Right, exactly.
like we'll all be on electric cars eventually, Berghoff. So it's not going to be one of those moments where you're like, we don't need to jump cars anymore.
We'll see. I'm still skeptical of the all-electric future, but it could prove.
Would you prefer an all nuclear future?
Yes.
So
All hurricane future.
interestingly
where you
enough,
get little pebbles of radioactive material that you drop in your car.
no, this is a bit of a
future
tangent.
armor.
This is a bit of a tangent, but electric cars don't make sense because of the infrastructure that we have in this country with fueling stations. Hydrogen cars, and they do make sense because it's much easier to convert fueling stations to dispense hydrogen.
Yeah, the one problem with hydrogen is its propensity to explode.
They're already doing it in California. Honda has hydrogen. They have hydrogen powered.
Yeah,
cars.
you can get hydrogen fuel cell
But
buses.
it's not very common. It's more rare than an electric car because people are nervous about the boom boom.
True, but yeah. So anyway,
Try to tell your grandma, hey grandma, want an exploding car? And she'll be
What's
like, oh
it?
my god, I heard Fox News. They told me it was gonna go boom boom. I wasn't gonna go buy it. It's just-
The Hindenburg was long enough ago that people might have forgotten about it.
I'm sure they have. Yeah.
Forgot about everything else.
Mitch, how's things in LA?
Good. It's very good. It's sunny. It's great. It was hot. Just because you won't let me talk about Kenna, I'm going to read my quote on our Discord, just my summary, super quickly, and then when Dan comes on, we can talk more in details. But I just want people to know what my thoughts were quickly on the game, so if they should buy it or not, because it's out. Said, just hit credits on Kenna. Game is great. One of my top 3 games of the year. It's definitely a game of the year contender in my book. The reviewers have it all wrong, calling this basic. I've been playing. If you've played the first 3 hours, yes. But the rest of the game keeps building, adding depth. It's really freaking great. And the ending is so good. Almost shed a tear. Also, the game took me 14 hours to beat. 8 hours my ass. Unless you did nothing but the main story and played down on easy mode. The combat is hard. It makes you use all your tools all at times. And also the bosses are very creative and makes you change up your strategies constantly, which is great for something that's a basic combat system.
And I should say as well, thank you very much for hosting last week when I wasn't around. I did like your guys' review of the Nintendo Direct. One thing that I needed to point out, though, is you nearly said pickle pints.
When did I say that? Oh yeah, whatever. It was late. It was midnight. I was tired.
Your inner Wisconsinite was kind of creeping out. You wanted sour pickles and beer.
Yeah, don't. I love pickles, man.
Liam, how's things for you?
I love pickles so much. Keith, I drink pickle juice.
I know we've gone through this, and I still think it's odd.
I'm gonna bring it on the show. I'm bringing pickle juice.
Oh,
Just to see Liam's face.
Liam, how are you feeling?
He's gonna
after that?
talk.
like
He's gonna
I
talk.
like pickles.
He's gonna talk about
But in
Bethesda in
juice
front
form.
of me, and I'm gonna drink pickle juice in front of him.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that I would not want to see pickle juice or even think of it.
He's left speechless.
I've had a good week. Having time off from work, just playing a bunch of video games is making me very happy.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And something else that should make you happy is a news-based quiz on the last month's gaming headlines. But first, does anyone have beers or anything they want to talk about? Matt, have you drunk anything recently that you want to highlight?
Recently,
Anything from Big Dogs, where they
No,
don't
I
serve
haven't.
Big Dogs? I'm still confused by that.
I guess I should have talked about the beers that I had when we were in Flagstaff, Arizona, a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
But I had way too many to talk about. I'll post the pictures on Twitter or something if I haven't already.
Yeah, I saw some. I was going to rip them off there and stick them on the Instagram page. Mitch, are you enjoying your Red Bull?
Good. Actually, I got something that's non-beer related, but still entertaining. My mom came to visit LA last weekend, so that's and we went surfing and stuff. Oh, got up on my first try, fellas. I am a killer surfer. The guy's like, are you gonna buy a board now because you live here? And I'm like, nah, I'm in Hollywood. That's a little too far. And he goes, yeah, I get a motorcycle. But my mom brought all my stuff, so I got my PS2.
Ooh, cool.
I got my
Wow.
GameCube over here. I haven't unpacked it all. I got my
Oh,
PS3.
hell yeah.
Oh, maybe I can do this with my camera. I got my PS3 stacked on my PS4 Pro, so it looks like a monstrous beast. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can do this.
Was it the original Fat Boy?
Bam, fellas. Look at that. A double stackage. And there's my Switch.
It looks like it could be a dev unit.
Oh, say hi to the camera, fellas.
Hi, us.
That reminds me how much I regret selling my PS2 and GameCube. Because, there are just some consoles you regret giving away.
Yeah.
Well, my best friend's fiance already had a GameCube, so he gave me his. So we quote unquote keep it in the family. So it's like I was never gonna get rid of it. So here's the GameCube.
Oh, look at that thing.
And I even have
beautiful.
I even have converters for my Switch to play things like Super Smash Bros on on GameCube controllers.
Nice.
So we're all into that. We're all into
Well, that's going to be the next thing. The next direct. It's going to be pay us another $60 for a GameCube controller.
No, it's not a pretentious thing, but Super Smash Bros. Just doesn't feel the same without a GameCube controller.
I think this is thumbnail material,
Yeah.
fellas, right? Thumbnail.
Yeah.
Just take a picture, take a selfie of that, and I'll post it on Instagram.
If you want to see Mitch hugging a GameCube, hop on the show.
I want to hug a GameCube as well.
I feel like, Keith, though, you need to post our liveness on Instagram too.
I'll post the fact that I post the archives, not the
Well,
live
you should post
stuff.
our live on Instagram too, because I'll like it.
Okay. And if I had my other devices,
What are
with me,
you drinking, Keith? Because I expect you to have a beer, or else I'm disappointed.
I do have a beer, and in the same vein that Evan was talking about, why do beers have to talk to the customers? I have something from Mobley Brewhouse called "Do You Copy?"
Okay.
Oh, okay. The artwork's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit avant-garde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abstract.
Van Gogh-y.
Do we copy? I suppose we're not the first ever podcast, so yeah, I suppose in that respect we do copy stuff. So it's a double dry hopped IPA. It looks like fruit juice.
Yeah.
It's very opaque and very yellow.
Is it citrusy like a fruit juice?
Not as much as I thought it was going to be. It poured really carbonated, but it settled quite quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not getting a hit of hops that I would expect from something that says it's been double dry hopped. In review, the can's better than the beer. I do have something else that I might have, which is the Crystal Weizen,
Oh,
which
that's
is
really
another
cool.
interesting piece of art design. It's a cat with its tail the shape of a pretzel drinking a beer. It's quite an evil-looking cat as well, because all cats are evil.
Thank you.
And if I don't fancy that, I've got the low-alcohol Peroni, which is amazing,
Oh,
because
Oh,
it's a school
really?
night. And I'm not going to go on it, because work is very busy. But I'll probably have some low-alcohol Peronis, because they're great.
that's amazing. I wouldn't even try them just because my presumption would be that they were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're more expensive than the low-alcohol Heinekens and stuff like that, but they taste much, much better.
Well, they don't make you want to kill yourself, so
Pretty much.
yeah. It seems worth the price.
Liam, do you have anything? Or are you just drinking cola or water?
I'm just drinking cola. I have no beers. I'm a sellout. I don't.
I sell it every week. It's okay.
Oh, at least you have the excuse of it being the morning.
Or
That's
later
true.
night.
Yeah.
No, the later
have
nights
no
are no
excuse.
excuses. The early mornings are excuses. So
Um,
you determine whether I bring beer on the show, Keith. You're like, you all vote. You're like, do we want Mitch drinking today? Nope. So morning.
Personally, I think Evan should be more flexible with his timings. Because it seems as though
I mean,
he gets whatever happens.
he gets it
He gets a
easy.
great time. He gets to drink in the afternoon or drink in the evening. It's fine for him. For the rest of us, it's either late at night or early in the morning, or unless on
Well,
the
if Evan
occasion,
if
it's in
Evan
the afternoon.
sacrificed, you would have to sacrifice because it
It
would
is
be a worse time
technically-
for you.
Yeah,
It is technically like midnight in Japan right now. Midnight Monday morning for him.
And
So.
and your highness cannot be awoken.
her Supreme Majesty. Right, enough of this pontification, procrastination.
Oh, I need to move this. This looks really bad in the background. Just some
Nothing to see here.
just some PS2 chords in a bag. It just looks really weird just sitting right here being like, what's this clear bag by him?
Drugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least it's not a spoon and a needle.
So actually hilarious that you're saying that. So when I was a kid, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and so I put all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in a gallon bag to like protect them, and so I like would run between my friend's house and we would play, and it was at night. We just got done playing, and I ran to my house, and all of a sudden a cop stops me, and he goes like, "Kid, what's in the bag?" And I'm like, well, first he points at me. I'm about to go in the house, and I'm like about to keep going because I'm like, the first time I've ever seen an officer, so like I don't know what to do. And he's like, "Come here," and I like get over there, and he's like, "Show me the bag," and I was like, "It's Yu-Gi-Oh cards," and I think he thought I had drugs.
These are
Technically,
just
he
as
was.
addictive, but
Yeah,
not quite as
technically
bad
he
as
was
FIFA Ultimate
correct.
Team.
Drugs, Yu-Gi-Oh cards are drugs. Okay.
Right, so
Mummy, what's happening?
starting off with our quick wrap up of some of the stories from the last month's gaming news. Matt,
Yes.
who seemed out of the loop when it came to game review scores?
Oh my
Seemed
god.
out of the loop. Was it IGN? Because IGN gave it a 10 out of 10.
So, would you like to elaborate a bit more for anyone who may not have been following?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't really have any
thanks for that. That's it. Mitch, do you want to fill in Matt's blanks?
We all thought Deathloop would be a disaster of reviewed game, and somehow it got
I didn't.
tens.
Saying,
is-
I didn't. I didn't think it'd rate that high, but I thought. It would be a good
That's what I said. I said people thought it wouldn't rate as high, and it didn't. And it did.
Not a disaster though.
What's it on? Sitting at the 84 and 85 on.
Yeah, I thought
think pretty good
I
moments.
think
About
most
right.
I think most people thought it would hit at the low 8s, high 7s.
Yes, but the story was that IGN and GameSpot and who was the other publication that gave it perfect scores?
Game
Can't
Informer.
Right.
Game
Was it Game
Informer.
Informer? Okay.
It's Game
I don't think
Informer.
it was. No, it wasn't Game Informer.
Yes, it was Game Informer because they talked about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't
Yeah.
ever give out perfect scores. That's
Yes,
incredible.
they do. They give a perfect scores pretty often. Metal Gear Solid 4 got a perfect score, which it definitely did not deserve a perfect score.
Yeah, well, that's not often. That was years ago.
Here, I'll give you a list. Fine. You want me to pull out the creds? I'll pull out the
Well, you see,
creds.
they
You wait,
can go
you
to
wait,
9.75.
Here we
See,
go. Game.
Liam, you shouldn't have done this because Mitch is now just going to use one of the 15 different monitors that he's got in front of him.
So if you look at the list of games that GameSpot have given a 10 out of 10 over the years, it's like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So
Here we go.
can all
Super
we can
Mario
all agree
World, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, Grand
Probably
Theft Auto
start with
Vice
the
City,
fight.
Metroid Fusion, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, oh my god,
Oh,
Grand Theft Auto,
legendary. Yes!
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Halo 2, Resident Evil 4, God of War, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, BioShock, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. I mean, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Wow, every Grand Theft Auto game. Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, no, this is 4. 4. Metal Gear Solid 4, Uncharted 2, God of War 3, StarCraft 2, Batman Arkham City, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Mass Effect 3, BioShock Infinite, Legend of Zelda A Link Between Worlds, Last of Us Remastered got a perfect score, Overwatch, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Red Dead Redemption 2. They give out perfect scores pretty often.
That's not many, though.
They give them out to your basic, like, give it a perfect, like, anything Rockstar, anything Zelda, and anything God of War, I guess.
Also, that's 3 10s over the past generation, though. That's not that many.
Well, if you compare it to the total number of game
outlets.
releases, no, but
That's GameSpot.
But if you look at GameSpot, if you look at GameSpot, they give out far less 10s. But
All right, but that wasn't my argument.
Games.
That wasn't my argument. You said they don't give out 10s. They do give out 10s. I just listed.
I said 20. They don't give out 10s that often.
I listed 29 games, and that's just the article from 5 years ago.
Yeah, but that's from when the site started. Like
no.
I'm 10s in a generation isn't many.
Liam, the article came out 3 years ago. Is the one I listed. So they probably gave out more 10s than that in the last 3 years.
Oh, okay. I don't know then.
That's not the point. Proving that Mitch trying to prove that he's right and you're wrong is not the point of the question. The point of the question was that how did these 3 outlets come to the decision that basically a Dishonored reskin where it doesn't matter if you do stealth or do shooty bang bang in a time loop,
the perfect formula.
It's the perfect formula for the Arcane's game design.
How?
I'm confused.
They did it because they're in love with Bethesda.
I don't know if that's
in love with Bethesda
case,
or in bed with Bethesda. Ooh, they got paid. Paid reviews.
Well, it's maybe Microsoft paid them a little. No, I'm sorry. This is PlayStation.
No,
PlayStation
on,
paid them.
Game reviewers don't get paid.
Well, they get paid a salary. They don't get paid bungs to give.
We're just messing. We all know that they're not getting paid to give this review. Now, Nongschlock, Mr. YouTuber down the street probably did, but not these guys. But still, I still question their. Now I really question their. Editorial understanding
process
understanding of video games. How does the editor-in-chief say yes to this? I do not get it. It's such.
I think it honestly speaks more to the trends in games with Hades, these roguelike formulas where it's a little bit different every time you play.
But it's not. It's like Hades. The combat is good and creative, and it changes and evolves over time. And this one, it accentuates play 2 different ways, and it works great. But it doesn't. It forces you to really play one way, and that's not perfect. That's imperfect.
Well, yeah. In your opinion, I'm just saying. I think. I don't know. Most reviewers now tend to skew a little bit younger than probably the guys that we were reading when we were a little bit younger. So,
but that's I guess you bring up a really good question. Does audience matter when you're reviewing a game? Shouldn't it matter? Should it not matter regardless of what your audience is about a game? As long as you're informing them about the content. Yeah, go ahead.
If you're writing or presenting anything, you do it at a target audience. Otherwise, what's the point? However, within that, you can't just say, "Oh, because we're writing this for kids, therefore it deserves a 10," or "This is meant to be a child-friendly game, but it's full of microtransactions and gambling mechanics, but it's still FIFA, therefore it still gets a 9 out of 10 every year." So you still have to judge the content that you're writing or talking about, not solely who you're writing it or targeting it for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I do think.
See how many times I can slag off EA in one show. It shouldn't be too hard.
I do think whether people like it or not as well is that compared with the years past, I think the editorial quality of a lot of these sites has gone way down over the years. And I can't comment on Deathloop because I haven't played it yet. But
That never stops me.
I don't think reviews are nearly as well written as they were 10 years ago. Like just on average.
Well,
actually, Game Informer's one of the few sites I still enjoy reading the reviews for.
Well, I think you are right in that aspect, because I think, unfortunately, there is no money in working editorial anymore.
Yeah.
And if you want to be an editorial, you can just do it by your own YouTube channel. Or the people that have been in editorial for years have left and done their own thing, where they finally can have some say in how they want to have their content out there to be perceived. And so I think that has changed the industry dramatically. I mean, hell, look at Jason Schreier, who, Shire, who's Shire. There we go. Like Hobbiton, Shire.
No, Schreier.
Schreier. There we go.
Schreier.
There
Extra
we go.
R in there.
Schreier. Anyway, but look at him and leaving a publication like Kotaku, and now going to this big, huge place like Bloomberg. And all of a sudden, Kotaku's quality has just dropped dramatically. Holy cow. I've not seen so much clickbait headlines. Jesus Christ.
Kotaku's quality hasn't changed. Jason Schreier just isn't there anymore, because everything else was always shit.
I mean, I guess that's a different topic, but Steven Totilo leaving, I think, had something to do with that as well.
Definitely true.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for talking about very little other than the question. Well done, everybody.
I guess we all haven't played the game, so it's hard to really say if they're right or wrong. But I think they're wrong, because it doesn't sound like a perfect game.
Well, if you take what's come afterwards and the Metacritic and OpenCritic score kind of, I'd say, normalizing around a low 80.
And I guess final thing, I would say the factor is very strange now with reviewers, and this kind of works perfectly into it, is reviews are not reading like their scores. And that's really strange. Like, there are there's been a lot of reviews where I read them and I'm like, how did you get that score? Because your review says something different. Your review is telling, sort of like Kana's review, like some of them write it like it's a 5, but they're giving it a 10 or a 9 or an 8. And some of them are writing like, what was the other one I was reading? Oh, Ratchet and Clank. Some of them were writing Ratchet and Clank like the game was like a 10, and they put it like an 8 or a 7, and I was so confused. Like, sometimes they need to understand, like, can you read your review one more time and then justify your score? Because your score makes no sense in the justification.
Yeah, there's a couple of things around that. Which is
then finally and then finally they just re-clarify. Like, some of them re-clarify and go like, well, I really pushed on this element, but I didn't push it as much in my article. And it's like, well, this review is meant to persuade me that saying this score is justifiable because of X, Y, and Z, but you're like saying, oh, I only wrote like 3 sentences about it. And it's like, it's not good enough then. You need to explain more, because people clearly don't understand your score.
Well, they might have done, but then they were given an arbitrary word limit that they had to chop stuff out of.
Well, you got to chop other stuff out then.
Yeah. Or rewrite the article.
Yeah, like clearly you didn't write it right.
Yeah, I think there's an element of hype bias and creeping in, and also hate. I go back to the Mass Effect Andromeda reviews, where people just seem to love shitting on that game, and it wasn't worth a 5 or a 6 that some people gave it.
I can't believe that. Yeah, that was crazy. That was freaking crazy. Like, if they didn't like it, it would deserve like a high 7, low 8 if you didn't like it. Because like, it still was a functioning good game. Like, it played well. It just, some of the aspects were a little short compared to others, and therefore it didn't get into the higher echelon of the 9s that it used to get, because it missed some key elements that makes the series special as an RPG.
Yeah. But just to say, on a 0 to or 1 to 10 scale, giving it a 5 just seems like you had a lot of fun shitting on this. Well done.
Yeah, we gotta talk about game review scores, because I would love to I love to see a world where actually we do 1 to 10, not 7 to 10, or like 5 to 10.
I've seen a couple of places give a naught before. IGN Australia gave a naught to it was a rugby game that came out about 3 or 4 years ago that they said was so terrible and unplayable, no one should ever buy it, and gave it a 0 on that basis.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the argument that there's so many fucking games out there right now. Like, these places are not going to be playing the 1 to 4 or 1 to 6 games because
but even with
there's
that,
so many games that fit into the 7 to 10 that why would you waste your time?
but that's the problem. Like, I could argue that some of these games that they are giving like 7s are actually 5s if you look at it a 1 to 10 scale, which actually would help diversify what they're reviewing, which helps the consumer more on understanding distinct differences. The only reason why they're doing it is one, it ties to bonuses, so they don't want to like ruin people's bonuses. But then 2, the other reason they're doing it is because if it's anything lower than like a 7, people are going to be extremely nervous about like purchasing it. And I think having and also having that clear, there's like a very much more clearer distinction if it's a 5 compared to a 7, compared to a 7 and an 8. 7 and 8.
This is a very interesting discussion, but we'll park it for another time. I'll put it on the spreadsheet.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll put Mitch next to it, because Mitch, Evan, and I are the only people who come up with ideas, apparently.
Because we're geniuses, that's all.
Liam, a question to you.
Wait, you were going to me and then you moved to Liam? Just kidding, go ahead.
I'm just jumping over.
I think you talked enough, Mitch.
We can't.
True.
The problem is we can't mute Mitch because he's in charge of the stream.
I can mute you.
Yeah. Liam, who's been called a bloodsucker for selling keys to an already open door?
For selling keys to an already open door? A bloodsucker? Ooh, I'm not aware of this. Selling keys to an already open door.
And focus on the blood sucking.
Blood sucking. Well, all I can think of is how I haven't got a Bloodborne remaster yet, and that just makes me really angry, you know.
Well, I feel sorry for you, but it's not right.
Is this the Blood Rain multiplayer game?
Do you mean Masquerade?
Thank you.
Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt.
Yeah, there we go.
I haven't been following this at all.
Yes. So well done, Mitch. That's another 2 points to you.
I know we were talking about how like it was telling us to go to a website, but we didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
It's beta. Go to website.
Go to this website where we may or may not tell you about our game. Yes. So this is the story that game key resale sites are selling keys to Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, which is a free-to-play game.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Hey, it's a good way to swindle.
Do the keys give you any bonuses though? Does it like give you
No, it's just access to the game. So it just takes you to a link, you download the game, you paid for it, and you didn't even need to.
That's awesome. That is the market at its best.
Capitalism.
Hashtag free market. Is that what we...
It's what we dream of. That's where the millionaires come into play. That's how they do it.
And that's why I went for the blood sucking, because why? There's of all the underhanded shit that people could possibly do.
Well, they're just hoping mommy and daddy that don't pay attention to games will be like, "Oh yeah, you have to buy it," when they said it was free, and then they'll be like, "I'll buy it for my kid," and then they'll buy it. And realize they didn't have to buy it.
So which key sites do we know specifically which sites were selling the keys to the game?
No, because I didn't look at it. I just looked at the headlines because I had other stuff to do. So
my assumption
Matt,
is...
you need to understand, when I prepare stuff like this, I have about an hour to 90 minutes
before it gets disturbed by the missus.
Yeah, which is why I was a bit late on, because I was helping some Excel activity. So I don't have time to click through and read all the articles and pull out all the salient information. I did do some maths.
Okay.
So the next question, if anyone can do some mental arithmetic, I didn't do it. I used a calculator because we live in the modern age.
It's like my history teacher in college would say, "Don't worry about the dates of when this guy was born alive and dead. Like you can just look it up on Wikipedia." It's like,
Well, when I was growing up, I distinctly remember teachers saying, "You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket in the real world." And
little did
now
she know.
Now we all have mobile phones.
Not only do I have a calculator, I got an encyclopedia on my phone.
Right.
Yes,
I've got
I
more
have the
computing
entire
power.
shared knowledge of the internet.
You need to know how to spell these words because they won't be able to spell check themselves.
Yeah.
Little did they
Stupid
know.
teachers. Stupid Dan. Stupid
Yeah, where's
Evan,
Dan? Where's Dan? We need Dan for
stupid
this.
teachings.
To mess with him.
Shaping the lives of the world's youth. You losers.
More like destroying the lives of the youth, but okay.
Right. So, Mitch, to increase your already sizable lead over these two numpties, who should have taken 2 seconds before talking and let slip 30 million times?
Could you say that again?
Yeah. Someone would take two.
Who should have taken 2 seconds before talking and let slip 30 million times?
I know someone would take two. That's all I know, but I don't know the answer.
So, Matt, you're not going to know, are you? You're just looking at me blankly.
Am I close?
It is about take two.
Okay.
It is about Strauss-Zelnick. It's about Strauss-Zelnick being on an investor call where he let slip.
Oh, right.
Liam, what did he let slip?
He let slip. It's gone. You say it.
It's fine. You chuckled. I want to hear it from you.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I remember it being very funny.
It was the number of Game Pass subscribers is up to 30 million.
Oh, yes, that was it. I was completely wrong.
Yeah. Which was quite funny. Would anyone hazard a guess that if Game Pass subscribers were up to 30 million, how much money Xbox would be making a year?
You definitely need a calculator for
I
that.
need a fucking calculator. $14 a piece plus
15.
So it's 50. I worked out it's $15 a month.
Yep.
Times
Right,
30 million times 12.
Yeah.
$540 million a year.
Yeah.
Not bad. I mean, but how much they're paying for content, they're probably still at a loss.
Yeah.
I think they need to hit maybe 50 to 60 to start making a profit at least. Especially for how much first-party games they're losing to not selling. Well, like, not necessarily they're not selling them, it's that people aren't buying them.
Yeah. So what wasn't factored into Strauss's calculations is that he seems to just make the number up. It's not been confirmed by Microsoft.
Because I thought they were only at like 15 million. It was like half that, wasn't it? 15 to 20.
I've never seen any.
I know they released
Phil's
a
never
number.
said. Big Phil.
Yeah, I've never seen any.
He's not even bailed up OTAPs in Essex and gone, apps. Did you know how many million subscribers we got on Game Pass? He's not even done that.
I heard somebody estimating it was around 23 million.
I'm looking it up in case they have announced it. Xbox game.
I wonder if you could take the number of live subscribers from even last generation and scale it up.
This is Q3 2020. 10 million, over 10 million, and then September. Oh, okay. So September of last year they reached 15, and they expected 18 by 2021.
Right, that's interesting.
Which is significantly lower than.
Oh, here we go.
30.
I'm sorry. Here we go. There's a Xbox as of 2 days ago. Oh, they did clarify, Big Phil. They are at 21 million subscribers, not 30.
Okay.
Well done, Phil.
Not necessarily active subscribers though. They just say 21 million subscribers.
I mean, if they pay him,
that's
Yeah. It doesn't really matter if they're
it
active.
doesn't. It's not. Well, here's the tricky part, fellas. Sometimes they can count it
even if you like pause or
if you
stop
pause your
subscription.
subscription, they'll still count it because they want it in the
And-
investor call. Like there's basically 21 million accounts for it. Not necessarily they are all active and paying. That's the difference.
And they could be people that are just on their like first
For free.
like, month £1 deal. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. So like that's not a. That's they usually like to say that because they want the bigger number. It doesn't matter if they're then people like dig into the numbers and going like, how many really are like paying? Come on. So 21.
Anyway, just the more we talk about Game Pass, the better. Matt.
I mean, I'm playing
Yes.
Avengers on it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Which Keith, I figured out why they did it. They did it because they want me to play Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy because it comes out this month. It's a smart play for them.
Well, yeah, because you've got to buy that. So
Also, Scarlet
I don't
Nexus
think it
came
will
out
help,
for
though.
Game Pass, and I was going to try that out.
I think Guardians is going to come out and be a lot better than Avengers, and it's not going to sell well at all.
Probably. Yeah.
absolutely. It just the fact that the story elements look better, although the last trailer really did a disservice to what they'd shown before. I think it's going to be a much better playable game than the monstrosity of multiplayer that Marvel's The Avengers was. But because it's the Guardians of the Galaxy and not Marvel's The Avengers, it's just not going to get as many people interested. I'll pick it up in a sale. I'm not paying full price for it because the games industry has trained me not to buy games day one. That's
Yeah.
my one per list. Matt, what has joined football, tennis, and even Muay Thai in being professional status in Thailand?
Esports.
Well done, Matt. Thank
Yay!
you for paying attention. Round of applause to
You know,
everybody.
how I knew that
sorry.
because this is a show
Round
about video
of
games.
applause.
Do you think that now the Thai professional esports teams are going to somehow jump up the ladder against some of the other professionals because they get tax breaks and support from the government?
No, actually, because Thailand probably won't exist very soon when China invades.
Well, does China invade?
Chinese sports team.
This is the Trojan horse that's going to allow
Yeah.
China to move in.
And if they
Esports.
do succeed, you can rest assured that China will invade them fast because they're like, we need that esports talent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thailand beats China every single year, and then they're just like, we should just freaking invade that country for God's sakes. But then, like, if they do it, the rest of the world would be in uproar in regards to the United Nations.
Because then China would just say to America, "Can you repay your loan, please?"
No. I'm talking about the United Nations.
Although they'll be so
Who gives a
outraged
shit about the
you know.
United Nations? The United Nations really doesn't give a shit about anything else. So
They'll be just as outraged as when they took over Hong Kong. I mean, catastrophic.
See, Burkhoff, this is why we don't do the show
This is why we don't do politics.
In October. No. This is why we don't do the show in October in the morning, because Burkhoff has to try to look through sun-piercing lines.
I mean, I don't know why I haven't my computer facing east at a window, but
or you haven't bought like really cheap $20 lights like I do. You know, like get these.
Yeah.
They're cool.
or just wear sunglasses indoors.
Yeah,
could do
that's
that.
cooler. That's cooler. Yeah, wear some sunglasses.
That's more Vegas, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Viva Las Vegas. Okay, what's the next one?
Right, Liam. Who's been told they have to allow direct access to other people's outdoor shopping centres?
Direct access to other people's shopping centres.
Oh,
It's Apple have been told that they have to allow other people to sell to have stores on their platform that sell other things, right?
Not
Nope.
entirely.
isn't it
Which-
is it Windows is selling was it access to? It was Epic Game Store Xbox
right.
Game Pass.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Right?
something too.
The story was the judge in the ongoing dispute between Epic and Apple has told Apple that they must allow Epic and other developers access to stores outside of Apple's own walled garden.
Yeah.
So Epic have got their way in a sense, which is that the whole point of the lawsuit was to get this verdict, and they got this verdict. The lawsuit is still ongoing because I don't know, they just love suing.
Well, there's an appeal process. They can appeal the ruling from the judge.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Which,
so
of course, they're going to appeal.
At this moment in time, so anything. So, for example, on Twitch, if people wanted to buy subscription tokens or bits, Apple now have to allow people to go to Twitch's store and buy them without their markup, and then come back to the app and use what they've spent on Twitch's site and not through Apple. We can still spend
So basically,
money through
Apple's
Apple.
about to become poor. Oh, that's sad.
I love the response that Apple gave to Epic. It's like, well, fine, you're not allowed to sell Fortnite on our store. Oh no! If we hadn't just won that trial that allows us to sell it on a different store. Oh no! You know, just
and then it's like Apple could be like, well, we'll just not sell Fortnite, but then no one will buy their new iPhone for the little boys and girls because they want to play Fortnite on the phone. Aww.
The interesting thing about this is how Apple will respond actually in the app.
Yeah. Maybe
So,
they'll
yeah,
offer
I'm
them an
sure that's
option
gonna
to be
flash
like,
up some
yeah, they'll be
big
like,
warning signs. So, do you really want to go to this place where we cannot guarantee your safety, security, and your data won't be stolen by people from around the world and used to clone your identity and then send your identity into space where you'll die in a cold vacuum alone and sad?
or it could be
Yeah.
something inspirational, like if you choose to leave us, you get to have a clone made of you, and the organs will be used to preserve you forever.
All you have to do is never buy anything outside of our store.
Yep. Please leave our store.
I like how truly cynical you need to be to predict the future like that, Keith.
That was exactly what because Vin had tweeted about it, and I commented on his tweet, and I was like, yeah, I can't wait for the fucking disclosures that are going to start popping up.
Yeah, it's going to happen. That Apple will come up with something to try and warn people off from leaving the app and then going to another platform to buy the stuff to then come back.
Yeah.
There's going to be something in there it's bound to be on information security.
Yeah.
And so if you do this, we can't guarantee that you're not going to have your details stolen.
Because they're all about security now.
Well, they're all
It's
about
the new
protecting.
hotness. It's the new hotness.
They're all about protecting our personal information whilst harvesting it.
Yep, and selling it to the highest
Rampantly.
bidder.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not going to. At least it's not Huawei.
I just really want to just go to like one of these really high tech companies and just look up my name and be like, what can you tell me about me?
Well, there was stories from people.
You don't get
who
it. You don't have a name. You're just a number.
Yeah, what's my? I
It's
want to know my
like,
number, bro. Like, give me a
You-
call.
They'll tell you things about yourself that you didn't even realize.
Speaking of numbers, hilariously, when I was playing Madden, I was freaking out for a minute because under one of the stats, so you know how like they'll display on there being like oh, last week they ran for like 28 yards and on 40 carries or something. Well, when they were reading a time of possession after doing a touchdown play, under the time it was a phone number. Instead of the
Weird.
actual
Did you
stat.
screenshot it? Was this your actual game?
I mean, I'll take a picture of it next time I see it, but it's not my phone number. It is a Wisconsin number though, because it's 715 is the first 3 digits, and that's a local
Weird.
Wisconsin number. So I was like, what the fuck? And it's not a full
That's got
phone
to
number.
be some kind of data breach. Jesus
It's
Christ.
not a full phone number though. Like it's cut off because it only allows so many digits for to show time for when you're showing like how much time it took to do the play. Yeah, but it's like 6 digits. It's weird. I'll show it to you sometime. But yeah, it's from last year's Madden, so it might be a.
No, reminded me of last year. Actually, it might have been this year when Avengers pushed an update that basically
Show people's
showed-
IP addresses.
Yeah, lost their characters.
But it was only
Oh
on
my
PlayStation.
God.
Oh, yeah, well, PlayStation exclusive content, right?
Yeah.
You get Spider-Man and you get defrauded.
So Fairbanks Jones is always complaining about.
Right. Mitch,
Yes.
who's looking at controlling all your games in 2 different formats?
Remedy. Controlling my games in 2 different formats. I have no idea. I'm blanking.
Matt, you look like you wanted to say something.
Sony. It's got to be
Well,
Sony.
they do. In fact, everyone does.
Yeah, everyone's doing PC and their console, except for Nintendo. Well, and then Nintendo is doing streaming in their console.
It is Nintendo.
Is it the fact that they're trying to stream games and then also have cartridge games? I don't know.
You talked about it last week.
Oh, is it the new subscription upgrade
Oh, okay.
It is the new subscription upgrade.
where
but
you can play NES game, not NES. I'm sorry. You can play Sega Genesis games and N64 games, but then you have to buy these 2 expensive controllers, which one of them only has 3 buttons, which apparently is a big deal.
it is. It's daft. And you are right.
Oh,
With a little bit
controller. Sorry. Yep. Okay, I get you.
with a small amount of nudging you got there. It is what you guys talked about last week. It is the absolutely frigging daft idea of the. And loads of people are going to buy those bloody things, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Well, I
probably
will tell you now though. I do love the fact
That's
that
why.
my roommates and I love playing Mario Kart, and so to play the old school Mario Kart online is awesome. That's awesome. I love that. I mean,
Yeah, same.
there's
That's
some
great.
really good ideas that they're doing here. It's just, of course, they're gonna sell a fucking controller.
Don't know why you'd want to play it on a Nintendo 64 controller though, because my god.
Yeah, my
But-
roommate
yeah.
and not my roommate, my best friend and I were talking. He used to be my former roommate. That's why I said roommate. But anyway, he and I were talking. He's a big Nintendo fanboy, so I always text him when Nintendo stuff happens, and we're like, "Oh my god, what'd you think? What'd you think?" And he just goes, "Of course I'm gonna buy it, but I'm really curious on how those sticks are gonna work, especially the N64 one." He's like, I wonder if I can break it. How soon? How soon is it gonna break? Because I just
Do you think
remember
they-
how loosey they were after you used them for
Yeah.
so long. Especially after playing Mario Party, where you have to like grind it and like do that. You're basically destroying it.
Yeah, people don't realize how good we have it with controllers these days.
I
do not.
wonder if, out of curiosity, Nintendo purposely wanted you. They're like, please put this mechanic in the game where you're just like ramming the controller as hard as possible because we want to sell more controllers.
That's a very Nintendo thing to do.
But,
We know it will break eventually, so like, do it more often so they have to buy more controllers.
I think if when it comes to multiplayer, maybe the N64 controller could be used as some kind of handicap system. So if someone's
mean?
really good at the game, it's like, no, you get the N64 controller.
Please switch controllers now. You cannot continue until you switch controllers. The tribe has
The
spoken.
interesting thing about the Genesis / Mega Drive collection and the controller, why are you releasing the 3-button version, not the 6-button version, makes no goddamn sense. It's not like you're spending absolutely hundreds of dollars or millions of yen developing something new. I mean, my God, you know the design, you know how it works. You just got to make sure that it's compatible with the current console. It's not that fucking hard. I'm sure. I wouldn't know. I don't build this stuff.
My sadness is
I just pass comment on all the things that I don't know a goddamn thing about.
My sadness is that they're not releasing the Looney Tunes sports game for the Sega Genesis.
My sadness is that you can already buy a really good, in fact, better. Matt, you mentioned this, didn't you?
Oh, sorry.
You can buy a better collection of Mega Drive games on a cartridge.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You don't need
it's Tiny Toons Adventures Acme All-Stars. That's the game they should have had on launch window for that Sega Genesis. Because I mean, not the Sega Genesis, the Yeah. It's a great game.
Collection.
Great game.
I will say though, like to Matt's point, it's nice to have an extra system that nobody thought was going to be on there, on the service, especially if they're raising the price of the service. Like,
well, by
it's nice
choice,
that
you don't have to pay for it. That's good.
Well, yeah, you don't have to pay for it, but it's just nice that they've gone out of their way to make a deal with a different publisher, to get more games on their platform.
The one thing that they're doing remarkably that I think every other one should consider doing, or maybe I'm just not aware that they can do it on the other consoles, is they have a family version where it's like you can have more than one account use online services. Now, to my knowledge, I don't think you can do that with PlayStation or Xbox.
No, it's linked to an individual.
It's linked to an individual account.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So here in the family one,
right.
I pay halvesies with my best friend, and so we split the family version between him, his fiance, myself, and we pay less than I pay for like my own one subscription. Like it's like I was playing It Takes Two, which is a great game so far. Like we played through I think like 4 levels of it. It's been fun. But he's like, damn, I have to pay for PlayStation Plus now, because I have to be able to play online, because he doesn't really play online games. He only plays online games on his Switch. So I was like, yeah, I wish I could like just, family you in for just this one time and we can play together. And so
PlayStation would not like that.
He shelled it. He shelled it and bought his subscription again. But it's just like, family accounts, I think, is something that Nintendo's doing really well that I'm surprised no one's noticing. Yeah,
Microsoft in their ultimate wisdom are doing a great job of what Sony aren't in terms of backwards compatibility and limitless cloud saves. So Erebus Jones has had a great time. His save of Call of Duty World at War was still there from 2007. Whereas,
I mean, if I went back and played a game from 2007, I probably would start over because it would be like really difficult to like figure out the controls again.
Well, the fact that it even happens, though,
I know, I get you. The fact that it's there, it's amazing. But it's like practicality reasons. It's like, really. I mean, I have my my PS2 memory card from like back in the day, so like I could just play my game from back in the day. Like, come on.
Yeah, but that you need a memory card for that. PlayStation wouldn't let you have a cloud save from back then.
On a PS2, nothing.
They cancel them off.
You know what I mean?
How long is it, Keith? How long does it take?
6 months.
They delete for 6 months. You see that? Oh my goodness.
Next question.
They're over the top and ridiculous.
Next question.
No, Mitch, we're going to shit on PlayStation.
Oh, no. That's not the reason why I'm saying next question. I'm looking at the time, so I'm saying next question.
Well, the next question is the last question.
Cool.
And I've lost track of who I asked the previous question to.
It's Burkoff. You asked me last.
No, I think I just answered one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Answered one, haven't you?
I answered the Nintendo one, and then...
yes. So it is Matt with the very last question.
All right.
Just take the win, Burkoff. Take the win.
Yeah. Heavy cloud is sweeping in and is now covering approximately 1 billion people.
Heavy cloud? I don't know what this is. I always scroll through the news when you do these, and I'm like, what stories are Keith going to pick? Which stories is he going to pick out? And I can never...
I think I know it could be.
Well, I do try and tweak them so I don't just give you the headlines. That's the whole point.
Right.
I don't want to make it easy for anyone.
Liam, you know what it is?
Possibly. I was thinking it might be Xbox Cloud expanding to more countries.
It is. It's the fact
that
approximately 1 billion people now have access to Xbox Cloud gaming.
Should have access. Not necessarily they could access it from their own home. Who knows? The internet's not reliable.
Yeah. Should they choose to use it, approximately 1 billion head of population
could
access it, which is the expansion. And then when it goes to Japan in what would it be? It'd be this month, later this month. It goes online in Japan. So, Evan, you've got no goddamn excuse. Get on Game Pass.
I'll be very curious if Evan sees on, and I'll ask him. I'm curious when it hits cloud because people are so tied to their phones because of their public transportation style, which is a lot of subways and buses and not subways, trains. But if people play games on their phone, are they going to start playing like Xbox games on the cloud on their phone? I don't think they will.
Not in Japan, at least. But if I'm on the go, I've got a Marvel Match 3 mobile game that I'll just waste time playing, or I'll read the news headlines or read the sports headlines.
Plus, do you want to waste like your data plan on playing an Xbox game when you're like, I could just play a better quality one at home?
Yeah, it only really works for people with unlimited contracts.
Well, even on
which
unlimited,
are becoming more prevalent.
Even with unlimited contracts, if you hit a certain
Less
gig,
so in America,
they'll slow you down after if using 5 gigs of your unlimited contract. They'll slow you down from like their 5G to 3G. Like
they can't legally do that to us over here.
No,
well, they can't.
We don't know now. Now, in the post-Brexit world, we don't know what's going to happen.
They technically but I mean they say they don't do it here in the United States too, but they still do it.
Yeah,
well, we've got I don't know if you guys have the same thing in the States, a fair usage policy when it comes to data. So you can. I've got no.
We have a Consumer Protections Agency, and that would probably sue if that was if someone could prove it.
Yeah, because we've had instances in this country prior to the fair usage policy coming in, where people would get slowed down, even though they're on an unlimited plan, or other times where people would end up hitting uncontractual, non-contractual data caps.
Actually, I don't remember. There is a fair use, but I can't remember where it stood because it was some corrupt guy was going to overrule it, and it was going to change how we did internet. But I can't remember if he backed off from doing that.
There have been cases where people have had their internet slowed down, but that's because they were doing something crazy like downloading 3 terabytes of data a month.
I don't know.
So they thought something dodgy was going on.
Well, I even know go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
And it turned out something dodgy was going on. This person was downloading torrents and then selling TV shows and movies, and so that's why they were downloading so much data. They were breaching copyright and IP. Well, copyright.
Well, the crazy part is here, an example of. So my best friend's a big tech guy, so this is where I know this stuff. So he has a server at home that we pull from to be able to watch movies, to watch TV shows. We can watch live TV from his server. So, but he's dealt with some serious internet constraints because of how much data is being used because it's a server and it does stream stuff in 4K. So it's its own thing where he's having headaches trying to figure out how to find a right provider to do so because the providers keep slowing him down.
Yeah, that would happen here, depending on how much data he used, even if he had an unlimited plan.
Yeah,
and this is where
exactly.
It seems as though our ISPs are somewhat more generous and numerous than yours.
For sure.
Because your country just got carved up and said this belongs to this company and this belongs to another company. Whereas here there's none of that. Oh my god. It's like healthcare insurers and Trump going, I'm gonna take away the lines around the states, and it's like, no you're not. They're companies. They're gonna do whatever the fuck they want. They want
see what happens.
They'll claim it.
We'll see what happens with Starlink? Elon Musk's satellite internet.
Starlink was the Battle for Atlas game. That was the close to life.
To be honest, Google fiber was supposed to fiber internet was supposed to be a thing, and that has shut down. So Elon Musk can try all he wants, but until I see actually it being working, I'm not holding my breath. Because Google, I was looking forward to Google really changing up the game too, because I use their phone provider service and I think it's great and it's cheaper.
Just given the fact that Tesla bought out the company that my solar panels are through, and the fact that I see more and more of those on the road, and all the accomplishments that SpaceX has had. Like I think out of anybody, maybe his internet company might actually do something. We'll see.
I don't believe it till I
Well,
see
he
it.
could. He could just throw $1 billion. He could throw $2 billion. He could throw $3 billion at it.
He could do a Google and just start it
Yeah.
and then shut it down. Like, that's how much money he has. So like for a guy like him, even though like, yes, dude, does he have a little more credibility than like a Google right now because he doesn't have as many projects that he started and stopped, but he still could stop it when he realizes it doesn't work for him. So
Yeah.
Well, but is it about him?
His
I thought the whole.
involvement in that company is very small.
Well, the involvement in the company for him is just kind of screwing up investor calls, isn't it?
yep.
I'd say him and Strauss Zelnick are good friends.
Keith, why do every time you're freaking on this podcast, we always have to talk about
right.
corrupt business people?
Gentlemen, I have to head out.
And
So-
on that,
Yeah. Hope Daisy's okay.
and on that,
Oh, it's
note,
just a follow up. She's good.
And on
But yeah,
that note,
but,
Matt, do you want to say it? Go on. You know you want to.
we're out. I think. I don't know if the music's playing.
here's that part that goes boom. Here we go.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
We've continued the podcast without him, the quality has gone way down.
And he's walking away.